Hello and welcome to a ranking video. I came up with the idea to make a ranking video because was watching Nathaniel Benny's videos where he ranked games he finished and even ranked SpongeBob SquarePants. And yes, I watched this 7-hour video over 3 times because I'm busy 100%ing Tears of the Kingdom. Also, by the way, while I was writing the script, I was listening to a 1-hour loop of Metatong's EX theme since I like it a lot, and I also was listening to Big Shot after the EX theme was over, but you are now listening to KH1 Stellar Beloved. Do we talk about the games? Also, I'm changing the text as we speak. What I'm probably saying now is not what it was originally. So, if you read the title, you will notice that I'm going to rank every Kingdom Hearts game I finished. And if you look at my content about KH, you will notice that I didn't finish Ray's Chain of Memories. I also want to note that I never finished the GBA version, since I had some problems with finishing it. Anyways, there's one exception of game to include, which is Unicross, since it's now a collection of cutscenes and I never finished the final boss, but was very close, so like I was at the final boss. That's pretty much it. Can't say the same with Chain of Memories games, which I like. Chain of Memories is like halfway done, and the GBA version isn't even halfway done. I also can't include the more lost like games like Coded, KHKey, or Recast, since I have no way to playing them, but they exist out there. At least Coded and Recast. Recast is, I think, almost completely discovered, but not playable right now. Coded has been kind of discovered, but is definitely not playable, and Kenchiki is right now lost. And nobody really cares because the phone game exists. So yeah, why should you care if even the phone game isn't even playable anymore? Which means I can play it. Which is also something I need to note. Every game I'm going to talk about is from my recent memories, since I will have some problems playing them and it will take a long while until they finish. A cage game normally takes around 20 hours of gameplay, and it's pretty long. There are, I think, 14 playable games, and that 20 times is, well, it's pretty much a month. Kind of. Also not really. But maybe we should start with how I got into Kingdom Hearts. My first experience with playing Cage was on PS2, since that was rather new and Cage was probably just fresh on the market. However, this is only what I was told, but oh well, I don't remember much about what happened in my 2nd to 5th year of being on the world. And that makes sense, since this was over 16 to 19 years ago. But do you have something that might be rare? I'm pretty sure that almost no one remembers what happened when they were 12 years old, and I'm on the same boat. However, I do remember when my sis was born and when I was holding her. Yeah, I was just 2 years old. So, on Christmas Eve, yes, this is when we give us presents, I got KH1. After playing a bit of it, and mostly letting my father play, since at that point in my life, games were very hard, I began to love this game unknowingly. At that point, the CGI cutscenes blew my mind. I at that point thought they were in-game cutscenes. Fun GameStop? I don't remember. Okay, cut that out. Later on, we bought KH2 at GameStop, and I began to play this. And with a lot of trouble, I got to sold it. And replayed the game on easy mode. At last, I reached the ending and wanted more, and was told by my parents that there are probably not going to be more games. Until I went to YouTube and found the KH2 secret movie. Both of them. And I was hyped for KH3 and confused Brentos with Thor. I'm a special boy. And I then showed it to a school buddy on the school PC. I only wanted to show how much I love it. I either before or after saw the KH1 secret movie. I don't quite remember. Later I would finish KH1 and begin to watch YouTubers, which I guess I did before, but really don't remember the YouTubers from back then. And one of the first YouTubers I believe I watched was The Gamer Joint. Even though I couldn't speak a single word English at that point since I'm German, I was still able to understand him. I also got my first phone, which had a very strange cage game on it, which is probably fan-made. You were walking on a grass field with Sora and talked with Final Fantasy characters and Disney characters. If anyone knows how well this game is, I was not able to find it on Google. All the descriptions I had were not really good. I then played Cage Recon per emulation Cage 2, and then discovered Recoded and Days and played them first per ROM. But later on they joined my collection. And I finished the DS games. And later on, or maybe before, I tried to finish BBS. That was not that easy when I got to Terranor, but never passed him. Later on, I would find about Cage 3D per YouTube and watch the Let's Play. And because of Everglow, I would see Cage Key, which I at that point wanted to play badly. But because of email stuff and so on, and I didn't have an email at that point, I think I was just 10 or 11 years old, so you can't expect someone to be a 10 or 11-year-old boy to have an email address. I got them with 17, I think, 16? With 16 or 17, my sister had one before that. She's, well, 2 years younger than me. Yeah. I worked with the release of the 2DS, Get Cage 3D, and the 2DS. Beating it was hard at that point, and my grandpa, for the first time in his life, played Cage and defeats young Xehanort first try. Anyway, I would defeat the final boss. Then I would see the Cage 3 teaser trailer and I was amazed by the graphics. I later on would get to 2.5, followed with 1.5. I've watched a lot of videos from the Gamer Joint and actually a lot of others. Basically the keykeepers. Yeah. I would watch a lot of the trailers, play Unchained Key only to break the tablet and play cage games on my phone per emulation. This was how I played COM, but I never knew how to transfer save data, so I always had to begin anew. I also began to read the Cage manga. And when the final Cage 3 trailer came out, I decided it was time to release my first video. I then got the deluxe version before it was released because of Amazon. I don't know how, just happened. Was the original thing, prime, everything, it was just from Amazon. And it got there to us sooner than it should have. I played through it, became traumatized when it came to Don't Think Twice. I seriously can't listen to it without seeing Sora die and hearing him scream in pain. Yeah. At the end of the 10th grade, I was able to get me a limited edition PS4 Slim. And that is when I was given the ability to make cage videos for YouTube. Once more. My equipment evolved, and this is how I got here. Yes, I skipped through a lot of stuff at the end. We are basically reached now, but pretty much the year 2020 to today. I also have to say that I was born in the same year when Cage 2 came out, and around 50 years older than the franchise. I think it is also interesting that while my channel was created before 2019, I began to do YouTube videos in 2019. So when Carriage 3 is going to be 5 years old, so will my channel. But with that said, I'm also not going to rank the collections since they are pretty much the same games in a collection with HD remastered music, which some sound better, some don't sound better. We are not going to discuss this, and with that said, let's get going. Number 16 is Kingdom Hearts HD Dream Drop Distance. The story is basically the setup for K3. Sora's story is how he is slowly falling into darkness, while Riku's is about realizing that he has to save Sora from the darkness. The worlds were good, but I kind of didn't feel the impact of awakening the worlds. The initial scene was just great and sad. However, I kind of think it would have been cool if Sora used some darkness after losing Tron. Which, like, yeah, you may think this is out of character, but he has anti-form and he has rage form, and he has stated in Cage 2 that he may have fallen into darkness, and then we have a mirror that basically foretells anti-form, so pretty much he has a possibility to fall into darkness at any moment, but not in Dream Drop Distance, of course. The scene with Riku and the game was great foreshadowing for Terra, and young Sandra just canceling out Time Stop was also great. The scene with the Dream Eaters at the end has only gotten massively better, however this is because of a different game, which we are going to discuss later on. The music is pretty good, but not the best. However, I like that every boss has their own theme. However, if the boss has two variants, those will share the theme. There are pretty much a lot of them. The gameplay was okay for what it is. However, I don't know why, but I can't feel the hits the characters make. In other words, killing an enemy didn't feel good, which is why it only was able to get to number 16, and I really don't know why, but I was able to play through the game, and after replaying it, this is when I didn't feel it. This is pretty much when I didn't feel it. The bosses are okay, but when you get to the final world, bosses get a lot better. Also, the super boss is BS. Number 15 is Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance. You know what I said about the last one? It's the same here. However, gameplay felt better. At least this is what I remember. I can't really replay it. My 2DS doesn't really work anymore. it pretty much has a hard time to get turned on. However, and this is the reason why it is higher than its HD counterpart. Number 14 is Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories. It uses music, which makes sense for what it is as a game. The story begins at the end. However, it can be said that everything you see at the end is very important for KH4. Gameplay was fun, but not my thing. It was pretty hard experience in my opinion. Number 13 is Roxas! Well, no, it is 0.2. This game is pretty good. The story is maybe not the best compared to the other games, however better than DDD, and the depression theme is presented very well in the words, the music and story given, which is pretty matter. What the story teaches us is that you don't want to take a vacation to the dark realm. The gameplay is good and the extras are awesome. Customization Aqua, you can customize Aqua as you please, which is just awesome. But you can't do everything since the game has to be PG friendly. Anyway, you are going to finish the game in around 3 hours, with the extra content makes it worth to come back. The final boss is just awesome with the soundtrack, but just don't expect too much. Number 12 is Base Kingdom Hearts 2. The story is good, pretty much weak at the beginning, but gets better when reaching the second half. The story is pretty much about a cult of zombies trying to use a fourth dimensional force to become humans again. Luckily for you, they can't infect you, but sadly for Sora, the bigger fights are probably stronger than a full power nemesis, and the final boss becomes a god of his own world. The music is just great, it is all on point, the gameplay is good for what it is, but sadly the critics to KH1 led to us getting no platforming and with that more linear worlds. The final boss is just awesome and I think the best one. Number 11 is Base Kingdom Hearts 3. The story is the final to the Xehanort saga. In my opinion, it does it very well. Everyone gets a happy ending until they don't, which is where KH3 ends with Sora disappearing. Music can either be okay or good, and only some are great. The gameplay I think is better than base KH2, however it is missing some things which will be added in Reminds. Number 10 is Dark Road, and it for sure was a dark road. This story is just great. Okay, I'm not getting what I'm saying here. Oh shit, now I remember. And it is free, like you can play it for free. There's no gacha anymore. You can play it for free. It gets very dark at the end. Every hope you had is going to get killed in cold blood while the wind counts as kills. It also gives us some insight into things we may not have known. The music is good, however, you use soundtrack. Gameplay is pretty much not there. You can pretty much like the gameplay itself and cheat death. Number 9 is Union Cross. There is so much nostalgia. Playing with people, going on raid with your chibi Keyblade wielder, it was great. However, the gameplay was not quite good since you didn't do much. The story is very good as Dark Road. It gave us more answers while also telling us to not question things. They are going to be answered sooner or later. However, a grand story can only get you this far. The gameplay is not good. Number 8 is Kingdom Hearts 385 over 2 days. The story is more grown up since it's about doing work. The story is about the boy, Roxas. He works for the Organization 13 after becoming friends with Shion and Axel. Everything went downhill. The CEO of the organization got closer to Roxanne in his friend's private life, and he felt abused and leaves his day one friend Axel behind. Not knowing where to go, he just sits on the usual spot. However, Shion arrives only to tell him that Roxas is not his own person, but a boy from the dream is a real Roxas, and the name is Sora, and now the girl called Shion is the boy Sora. With the voice of the girl Shion, suddenly she becomes Jesus and is able to walk on air. Then she tells Roxas that she's going to absorb him to become perfect. Sora breaks reality, and after getting given Roxas realizes what he has done and sees how she disappears, with her last wish being to free Kingdom Hearts. He goes on a rampage and gets beaten by Riku, who is now Ansem, but also not Ansem, and Ansem appears only to see Roxas KO and then decides to put him into a simulation. The gameplay and enemies go hand in hand in my opinion. Gameplay is not quite right yet, and the enemies are designed to be challenging, combined we get annoying enemies. The music is just awesome. Number 7 is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. The story was good and ended pretty dark. In this game you will not be able to find a happy ending. This game introduces us to the real Xehanort, also known as Master Xehanort, over years God, and don't really save the world, and it is more of an after effect. Terra is trying to find Xehanort and either gets used against his will, gets confused, or helps out a ton. Later on, he saves his friend. His father figure Luke Skywalker dies in front of him because of Xehanort. Mantis on the other hand shows his pure heart, while Aqua has a problem with darkness and also believes Maleficent about Terra and now thinks that Terra only did bad stuff. Oh, and she wants to murder Wolfham. At the end, when it's fell into a coma, Terra becomes Xehanort, and Aqua tries to save Terra, but at the end gets a ticket to darkness. The music is great overall, and the gameplay is pretty good, and it's fun to play the game. Number 6 is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix. This game basically adds more cool content, including story on top of what BBS gives you, which is why it is higher than BBS. Number 5 is Kingdom Hearts Recoded. The story was okay, it was not special and felt like DLC, which story-wise would make sense, but content-wise does not. Game retells KH1 except with some worlds that are not there, but also the whole story gets corrupted by the journal and gets interrupted by Mickey and Co. As you notice, it is not that important. However, we get basically told that there are people Sora needs to save, and that the Mark of Mastery has to happen, since if the nobody and toddlers are destroyed, the somebody will return. Which is basically the reason why Master Xehanort is returning in Kingdom Hearts Ring of Distance. However, the gameplay is very fun, like it feels great, fusing is a lot better, you can customize your experience, and every world has a unique gimmick. The music is not new at all, but they are remake versions. What more can you ask? Number 4 is Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. This DLC and update was awesome and made K3 even better, since you can play it in full on PC as a own game. It counts. For me at least, and probably for other people as well. The story at the beginning is the same as base K3, and the gameplay got a lot better than base K3. The story continues, more resources get built up and up even more stuff is revealed, and if you love challenges, then fight against the Datas and use Sora. If you want even more of a challenge, use the Pro Cards. If you just wanna see the story, go with the easy codes. Overall, you're going to have lots of fun the further you get. Number 3 is Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. this game is not just fun and gameplay, the story is just awesome. Worlds feel connected and have depth. The story is about a boy Sir who lost his friends because of darkness, and thanks to Disney and Final Fantasy characters is able to save his friends and grow as a human. The only thing I don't like are the new anime that have new materials that you need to get to create even more items to get at last Ultima weapon, and most of the new enemies are annoying. Like, really. You can name it in the comments if you want. Number 2 is Kingdom Hearts 1. The gameplay is a bit worse than Final Mix, however, this is what I was told, and I do believe it because I kind of see why. However, Ultima is easier to get, and the enemies that annoyed me don't exist, which is a pro. Number 1 is Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. The story, as you know, is just good. However, the gameplay feels great, all the action areas are awesome, there are a lot of them. Like a lot. You're going to have lots of fun with the game. I will note that number 4 to 1 are also so close to each other that I might change my opinion. So next time no one copy KH1 or Remind. Kingdom Hearts is my favorite franchise, and I connected my heart with many other people because of it. It partially made me to the person I am. It is interesting when your favorite franchise was released in the same year as you were born and even pretty close to your birthday. As I said, I'm around 50 days older. All the difference is basically a month and quite a few days. But as I said, it is interesting. It is like destiny. And who knows, maybe there's more than I expected. I think your life starts when you work. Before you were under some kind After you were under some kind of care. You can't really rise above someone. There was always a limit when you are in school. Well, you will always be a student. You will never advance to the teacher role. But when going to work, there is a chance to rise above the ranks. It is very hard, but when done right, you will achieve your dreams. I'm just at the final stretch to reaching that point. I'm going to become an official game dev. Since I would have to start out small, I would have to do something. Will have to do something small. I have an end goal in mind and a round way to get there. My interest in game development started with video games and YouTube. And soon I will work on a game. Someday it will probably take a few years, but we are going to get there. My love is big for Kingdom Hearts, and I think this video is going to show it. Every video I scripted before this video always came out very short. Often I had less than a page, and the video was maybe just 4 minutes long. However, I don't quite recall the length of the page. But this one was while I was writing the script, 5 pages long. And I even began to add a wall page explaining how I got into the franchise. I even changed this part. I already recorded a lot, and after putting everything together, the video would have been 20 minutes long. But after my story part, which I felt was important to add, and even changing this part, which I called the aftermath. How long do you think this video is going to be? The my story part is 7 minutes long. If I was to cut out one part, but this part replaces the ending, which was maybe 3 minutes long, and this might be a hype this part replaces this part is probably going to be 4 minutes or 8 minutes. It could also be longer. So how long is this video going to be? Well, you all know the answer. And I say it will be above 30 minutes. This is for sure. And it will show that I'm not going to make any shortcuts for my #1 franchise. And I will excuse myself for all the stumbling in the words. That's how it is. I at least bring it to the point and don't stumble too long on the words, and not that often. Thank you for watching. And I was thinking of doing another ranking video. It will be a franchise I have played a lot of games of. Final Fantasy is not going to be there because I only played 3 games. Why should I rank 3 games? So the candidates are Pokemon and Sonic. Although one of them is right now in the works. After those, or maybe one of them, I will be ranking an anime. Ideally love. So I will see you in one of those videos. May your heart be your guiding key.